The night had settled heavy over the glass towers of Orion Plaza, its polished floors reflecting the dim glow of emergency lights as the building approached closing time. Most employees were gone, the last whispers of conversation fading down the hallways. But for Aiden Walker, the single dad who worked here as a janitor, the night shift was just beginning. Aiden adjusted the worn strap of his cleaning cart, wiped sweat from his forehead, and checked the time on his cracked phone. His little girl Emily would be asleep by now. He'd kissed her goodnight before leaving, promising her that someday, somehow, he would build a better life for the two of them. He just didn't know how yet. The elevator chimed softly as he moved toward the executive floor. He liked cleaning this level. It was quiet, almost too quiet, and sometimes he could pretend that he didn't feel as tired as he always did. But tonight, as he stepped out into the corridor lined with marble and gold accents, he froze. A sharp, painful cry. A woman's voice. Muffled, choked, full of fear. Aiden's heart slammed against his ribs. He followed the sound, down the hallway until it led him to the door of the billion-dollar CEO, Damien Hawk, a man known for his brutal business decisions, heartless takeovers, and cold, emotionless stare. But what Aiden heard now was something far worse than boardroom cruelty. "Please, Damien, stop!" Another cry. Something crashing against a wall. Aiden dropped his cleaning supplies and ran to the door. His hands trembled as he reached for the handle. Locked. Inside, a deeper voice roared, "Damien, you think you can embarrass me in front of everyone? You think being pregnant gives you the right to speak to me like that?" Aiden felt the blood drain from his face. Pregnant. She was pregnant. His pulse hammered as he banged on the door. "Hey, is everything all right in there?" Silence. Then a chilling laugh. "Walk away, janitor. This is none of your business." But then came another sob, raw, terrified. That was enough. Aiden took a step back, lowered his shoulder, and slammed into the door with all the strength he had once, twice. The third time, it burst open with a splintering crack. Inside, the scene made him gasp. Damien Hawk towered over his wife, Stella. She was curled on the marble floor, hands instinctively protecting her stomach as tears blurred her vision. Her cheek was bruised. Her lip was bleeding. Her body shook with fear. Aiden didn't think. He moved. "Get away from her," he said, his voice lower than he'd ever heard it. Damien turned slowly, anger flaring in his eyes. "You just made the worst mistake of your life." Stella tried to speak. Please. Don't let him." Aiden knelt beside her. "You're safe. I promise you." Damien grabbed a crystal vase and hurled it across the room. It shattered inches from Aiden's head. "She's my wife. I can do whatever I want." Aiden carefully helped Stella stand. "You can't touch her again." Damien lunged. Aiden blocked the hit, the impact shaking through his bones. He wasn't a fighter, not professionally, but he'd worked construction, done warehouse shifts, lived through the worst. He knew how to take a hit, and he knew how to give one. Damien swung again. Aiden dodged. Damien charged. Aiden stepped sideways and slammed his fist into Damien's jaw, sending the billionaire stumbling back into his desk. Papers flew everywhere. "I'll ruin you," Damien spat. "You think being a janitor gives you the right to play hero?" Aiden stood between Damien and Stella. "I don't care if you're a billionaire. She's afraid of you." That's enough. Security alarms flashed as the impact had triggered a silent sensor. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Damien smirked. "My security team will be here any second. They'll throw you in jail." But the first person who burst inside wasn't security. It was Emily, Aiden's little girl, wearing her pink jacket and carrying her stuffed bunny. Breathless and worried, a neighbor must have brought her after hearing her cry for her father. She never liked sleeping alone. "Daddy!" she yelled, running toward him. But she stopped dead when she saw the scene. "Daddy, and what happened?" Aiden's chest tightened. He didn't want Emily anywhere near this. "Stay back, sweetheart," he said gently. But Stella looked at Emily with stunned, trembling eyes, as if she hadn't seen innocence in years. Emily slipped her tiny hand into Stella's and whispered, "Are you okay?" In the softest voice, Stella broke. She cried, truly cried for the first time that night, not from pain, but from the shock of kindness. Damien moved toward them, rage spiraling. "You brought a child into this? Are you insane?" Aiden grabbed Damien's arm and pushed him away hard. "Touch her and I won't stop at one punch." Security finally swarmed the room. Damien barked orders, expecting them to obey, but they didn't move. Stella stood up straighter, still shaking, but with newfound strength. You don't control them anymore, Damien. You don't control anything. She looked at the guards. I want him removed from the building. Damien stared, stunned. You think they'll listen to you? I'm the CEO. Stella reached into her pocket and pulled out a stack of documents. Legal. Stamped and official. Not anymore, she whispered. The board voted an hour ago. I'm the acting CEO until your investigation is complete. Damien's world froze. The guard stepped forward. Sir, one of them said, please come with us. Damien thrashed, shouted, threatened, but they dragged him out as his screams echoed down the hallway. The building grew silent again. Aiden exhaled deeply and knelt beside Stella. Are you hurt? Do you need an ambulance? Stella wiped her tears, her hands still shaking. She looked at Aiden, truly looked at him. A man covered in sweat, bruised knuckles, trembling from adrenaline, all to protect a woman he didn't even know. You saved my life, she whispered. I just did what anyone should have done. She shook her head. No, no one else dared. Not a single person. Emily stepped closer. Your baby will be okay, right? Stella nodded, placing a protective hand on her stomach. Yes, sweetheart. Thanks to your dad. But Aiden didn't smile. His mind raced with the consequences. He could lose his job. Damien could still ruin him, even from the outside. Everything he'd worked for, every dollar he saved, every dream he had for Emily, it all hung in the balance. Stella saw the fear in his eyes. Don't worry, she said softly. You won't lose your job. Aiden looked up. But Damien doesn't run anything anymore, she interrupted gently. And even if he did, I wouldn't let him come near you. She stood slowly, steadying herself. Come to my office in the morning. There's something important we need to discuss. Aiden didn't know what she meant, but he nodded. Of course. That night, as he carried Emily in his arms and pushed his cleaning cart back to the supply room, he felt the exhaustion settle deep into his bones, but he also felt something else he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. The next morning he arrived home, slept a few hours, and returned to the building for his day shift. It felt strange, walking the same hallways but knowing everything had changed. Stella's new office was peaceful, bright, filled with warm morning sunlight. She stood by the window holding a cup of herbal tea, a bandage on her lip but strength in her eyes. Aiden, she said with a small smile, come in. He stepped inside nervously. Emily was at school. He felt underdressed in his gray janitor uniform, but Stella waved him closer as if none of that mattered. I want to thank you again, she said, voice softening. You didn't just protect me. You protected my child. I just couldn't walk away, Aiden said quietly. No one deserves that, especially not someone carrying a baby. Stella nodded. Not many men would have stepped in. Not against someone like Damien. Aiden shrugged. Power doesn't scare me. Losing my daughter, and that scares me. And if I walked away last night, I don't think I could ever look her in the eyes again. Stella stared at him, deeply moved. You said something last night, she said. You told Damien you didn't care that he was a billionaire, that all that mattered was that I was afraid. She paused. Do you know how long it's been since someone cared how I felt? Aiden didn't know what to say. She walked to her desk, opened a folder, and handed him a thick stack of papers. Aiden blinked. What's this? Your new position, she said gently. Head of the facilities department. Stella gently touched her stomach. And for the first time in a very long time, all three felt something quietly powerful. Safe. And from that safety, something even stronger began to grow. A new beginning, born not from wealth or status or power, but from courage.